Thank you much for joining us on News Talk 710 KURV. Let's bring back to the show Dr. Al Johnson, Doctor of Internal Medicine, going to tell us a bit more about the benefits of the Mediterranean-style diet. Dr. Al, good to talk to you again, sir. How are you?
Good morning. It's my pleasure.
Can you please explain to us what's on the menu on a Mediterranean-style diet?
Mediterranean diet basically is vegetables with fish and nuts, healthy oils like olive oil, then a moderate amount of wine. And the study actually went for 5 years looking at people that had high risk for stroke and heart disease. These are people with hypertension, smoking, so forth.
The wine in that diet, could it be easily replaced with something with high antioxidant value, or is it the alcohol in it that is the benefit? You know, something like pomegranate juice versus wine, or even grape juice as compared to wine.
I don't know that wine is the main component or the big component in it. It's just that it allowed that. There's been studies that show that it does have antioxidant effects. I'm sure other antioxidants would work just as well, but someone chose not to have the wine in the diet. The big thing was the vegetables, which is the fiber, the low in the saturated fats and the high in the healthy oils. That reduces the inflammatory factor in the body, which is what triggers the whole cholesterol plaque.
Why is olive oil so awesome? It's so expensive. The real stuff at the store, you know, it's
the good stuff.
The good stuff is very, very expensive. Why is it so good for you?
Well, because it's non-saturated, it helps regenerate the tissues. Your body needs fats to work. Fats create hormones. Fats help regenerate nerves. Helps the nerve tissues to function. Okay. So that's why the big push was there.
But good fats, right, Dr. Johnson? Not red meat fat. Good fat.
Correct. It's a vegetable fat, just like avocados are a good vegetable that
nuts.
They're high in fat, but they're a healthy fat.
Yeah, certain nuts as well fall into that.
Dr. Johnson, Tim Sullivan here. I'm looking at a lot of these foods and whatnot, and I'm just trying to, this doesn't seem to be that different from the good diet advice that we normally get. I mean, this contains a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, greens, nuts, minimum amount of red meat. How does the Mediterranean diet differ from other diets?
Well, it cuts out a lot of the breads.
Grains, I see, yeah.
And then there's very little dairy actually in it.
Okay. Oh. And why, but they tell us that grains are good for us.
It depends on how you look at it, because the grains actually do set up an inflammatory factor, and a lot of people are sensitive, like the gluten and sensitive to wheat. The two highest allergic factors, just from the allergic standpoint, which when you have allergy reactions, they set up inflammation, is dairy and wheat.
But doesn't the fiber in those grains and whatnot, does it
offset?
Maybe offset the disadvantages?
No, it does not, because you get a lot of fiber from vegetables. You know, fiber basically helps with colon problems and colon cancer with the bowel. Now, fiber does bind up some of the cholesterol, but it sure doesn't offset it. So there's nothing better than a healthy diet.
So if this Mediterranean-style diet is so good for you, that Greek yogurt stuff, that doesn't belong in there, does it?
They don't have a high amount of that in this study.
Okay, thank you much, Doc. Good to talk to you again. Doctor of Internal Medicine, Dr. Al Johnson, our guest on 710 KURV.